Good evening, campers. It's me, your boy, Kieran, and we have been blessed because Guilty Feet, predominantly known as Papa Booktube, has kick-started season 2 of Has Steve Donahue Read This Book? If you've not come across Daniel, first of all, why? Go down, click, subscribe. CJ from CJ Reads, as if I even needed to clarify, said that down in the future I could be like Daniel, and I wish I was even going to be half the man that Daniel is. Papa Booktube, bless. Love him. So we're going to see if Steve has read these books, and you know me, the booker boy. Like, I'm going to get 60% right because it's guaranteed. It's me. The rules are pretty clear. 8 books. I can't just choose like anything. I can't just choose like an Audi, Fiat. I clearly don't know anything about cars, but I can't choose like a car manual. I can't just pick some weird random like check release. It has to be like some logical reason to Steve has possibly owned this book or has read it. And you know what? I think I've done it. For ease, there are timestamps down below, and I've split them up into categories. So we're going to talk about, first of all, the cult classic, which I'm going to say, I think, even though I couldn't see it on his channel, I think Steve might have read The House of Leaves. Now, not many people know about this, but there's a companion to this that's hinted at in the book, and it is available quite easily. It is The Whalestone Letters by Mark C. Danilewski, which are more letters from Pelophilia, Johnny Truant's mother. It's a little bit obscure, so I'm quite happy to take the fall on this one. But if you've done a little bit close reading, which I know Steve does do, you would deduce that this exists. Or I think the type of reader that he is, he wants to like go out and find even more on a certain book. And I think this would be a fairly strong contender. If you've read House of Leaves, I definitely would recommend picking up this. Do know that there is some crossover between the letters in Appendix 2E and in this one. I really need to do a review on House of Leaves. My thought process is, as House of Leaves has a cult status and a lot of readers do go out to read it, I think it would make a logical step. I'll take the hit on that one, which is why I got it out of the way. But in regards to, is there a likely chance that he's heard of the book or has come across the book? I think, me being the booker boy, it makes sense if I mentioned a Booker winning book. So it's out there. I'm going to go for not the first book. I was thinking of going for the first book to win it, but I thought, no, let's go for the first woman to have won the Booker, which is the next year in 1970, which is Bernice Rubens, The Elected Member. I've spoken about this a few times on my channel. Bernice Rubens is Welsh. Welsh represent people. Wales, Cymru a Beath, Wales. 1970 Booker Prize. I think that gives it some legitimacy. This isn't just some random book. It won a prize. It's prestigious. We're going with it. This is about Norman, who lives in a close-knit Jewish community, who is a drug addict. And we kind of see how Norman deals with his addiction, how religion kind of plays into this. And this is going to be a theme in some of these books. Norman's father is a rabbi, and obviously these two worlds are colliding. And what are we saying about addiction? What are we saying about maybe tradition, about ritual? Like, how does that all come into it? It kind of really encapsulates, it kind of circles around in this book. But I'm going to place my bets that Steve's not come across this at all. Booker being, I would argue, the biggest UK literary prize. I think the world's biggest literary prize is the Nobel Prize, and I really think I've chosen the right one. I couldn't see anything on the channel. Really hope I've gotten this right. I've gone for someone who all of you will know that I love and adore, and I've come across him this year, and I think he's one of the best writers that loads of people haven't heard of. And I haven't gone for the two big boys here. I have gone for big in regards to its size. I was thinking about, I know Steve reads a lot, but like big books are off-putting. I was thinking about Vikram Seth, I was thinking about David Foster Wallace. I thought, no, they're too easy. So I've gone for, because it took me a bit of time for this to arrive, I've gone for In the First Circle by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I haven't gone for Ivan Denisovich. I haven't gone for the Gulag Archipelago. I was tempted to go for Cancer Ward. Now that I'm holding this up, I'm regretting saying Cancer Ward, but we're gonna go with it because 60%, we can default on another one, I think. We believe in each other. I don't think Steve has read In the First Circle by Nobel-winning Russian author Solzhenitsyn about someone receiving a telephone saying that an atomic bomb is going to go off. I really wish I said Cancer Ward now. Oh! I'm not going to change my mind though, because I'm a big boy. Big boys don't change their mind. What I'm definitely not going to change my mind of is everyone reads myths. The Iliad, the Odyssey, the My Daily Penguin. There's loads of myths going on in there. Steve, there's no way you've read this, mate. There's no way you've read this. I would put money on this. No chance he's read this. The foundational myths of Wales. My head glad van had died. Mabinogion. The Mabinogion. The Mabinogion. The foundational myths of Wales. Let's just end it there. Like, there's no chance he's read it. There's no chance. There's no chance. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Going back to My Daily Penguin, his series, I did catch 9 months ago and 8 months ago, did one on the works on Shelley and the works of Byron. And I was quite tempted to choose Shelley's The Sensi in this, but in his Penguin edition, I wasn't sure if the Sensi's in there. So, he did mention about Shelley and Byron that he's read a lot of biographies and there's a lot of bad ones. So I'm assuming he might not know this one. This came out in 2017. Let me actually double check that because I said I was such confidence. Yes, 2017. I know my stuff. This is Iris Origo's The Last Attachment, the story of Byron and Teresa Guiccioli. Don't know if I'm saying that last name right. All you need to know about this is that Byron meets 19-year-old Teresa, the most infamous man in Europe at that time, and kind of documents how these two meet and kind of how they go back and forth to each other. If Steve's not read this, I would highly recommend that he read it, because I think this is probably one of the best. Another one, I was tempted to say it. This is a runner-up, so I'm not counting it as part of the 8. But Miranda Seymour's In Byron's Wake about Ada Lovelace and Annabelle Milbank is absolutely enthralling. I would recommend both biographies on Byron, but we're going with Origo's. Not many people know about this one. I studied Byron for PhD along with Shelley. And this was recommended to me by one of my professors. I'm part of the Byron Society as well, so there were a lot of rave reviews about this one. But I hope he hasn't read it, but if he hasn't, I hope he picks it up. Moving on to the next one, but staying exactly where we are within romanticism. We've spoken about Byron, Shelley, Steve's talked about Keats, Blake. I've not heard this name pop up. With this author, I would say is kind of like the forefather, or like the starting point of Gonzo. If you like Hunter S. Thompson, William Burroughs, I definitely go all the way back and check out this guy. The one most people are going to think of when I say Thomas de Quincey is Confessions of an Opium Eater. Oh, it's great. Well, that's fantastic. But I'm going to go for his On Murder, considered as one of the fine arts. I just have a feeling this one might have skipped. De Quincey's right at the same time as the Satanic School of Poetry. Byron, Shelley, Keats, Blake, Leigh Hunt. We should have checked out. Check him out. But De Quincey kind of gets left to the side because he's not a poet. He's more of an essayist, a self-biographer of what's going on. On Murder discusses John Williams' murder in 1811, and De Quincey's through a very satirical. He's very similar to Byron, which is why I think possibly Steve has read him, because he likes Byron. It's satirical, it's kind of hijinks, it's just a really good read. It feels wrong already. This penultimate category is historical fiction, of which there are many to choose from. But I've chosen this one because I started hearing about this more and more, the more that I reviewed Indian literature. When it comes to literature based on partition and post-partition writing, this person was recommended to me by so many lovely people in the comments. And again, I think he's read this, but just for you to go out and pick it up, because it's incredible. I got to work on a review on it. It's Kushwan Singh's Train to Pakistan, which is about the world's biggest human migration, where people literally boarded a train, like 11 million people, to move from India to Pakistan, vice versa. It's like really eye-opening. I think partition is something that's not spoken about. Until I read Indian literature, I didn't really understand partition. I never really understood like the extremity of partition. I generally thought, but I'm happy to say it, because I think as readers, you're meant to make these discoveries. You're meant to go like, Jesus, like, okay. I generally thought they just put a line on the map and went, this is Pakistan, this is India. And if you're on this side, you're Pakistani. If you're on this side, you're Indian. Way more complex than that. Had it not been for me starting a YouTube channel, I would not have come across this person at all. I remember ringing my library saying, can I get a copy of Kushwan Singh? And they were like, oh, like, okay. I think the last person who took it out was like in like 1980s. They were like, yeah, it's just been sat in a vault. Like, well, we can bring it to you if you want. I think more people should learn about partition. And I think as readers, I think we should just be open to being like, I didn't know about this. No one likes a smart ass. But that's why I love reading, because I learn about things that I was ignorant to or I hadn't been taught. And it's a bit of like a self-discovery, a bit of self-learning. So I'm going to go for Kushwan Singh. This last one is the icing on the cake. We kind of go back through a lot of themes that we've discussed here. It's in the Penguin Black Classics. A lot of people read this. I think some people wouldn't consider reading it. I think I'm onto a winner. It is, by the way, I'm not talking about like the one I'm holding. I'm on about the Penguin Black Classic. I don't think Steve's read the Mahabharata. I don't think you've read the Mahabharata. I'm talking about big books. This is what kicked it all off. The Mahabharata. I'm currently reading the Mahabharata at the moment. A lot happens. There's so many things I could say about Mahabharata that wouldn't even do justice to the Mahabharata. I think the one thing I can 100% definitely say is that Steve's not read this. Again, I would put money on this one. Oh, let's stretch out, because I've clearly am in the lead of this race. I think at the moment, 2 books are the max, but I get a guaranteed 60% because it's me, the book boy, always gets 60% right. Steve, over to you. Because I've smashed it.